Hey, how's it going? I'm Tim Holtz, Creative Director with the Ranger Industries, and I'm here with Debbie, graphic, fine artist, photographer. She's got a lot of job titles. She wears a lot of hats around here, but Debbie is known for her mad coloring skills, right?
Yeah.
It's the artist in you, is it not?
Yes, it is.
It is. So she is going to share. What are you going to share with us?
The alcohol ink fillable pen.
Really, really cool. Wait till you see what she does with this. We'll check it out. All right, so here's what I was talking when I said that Debbie has mad coloring skills. I've said it once, I'll say it 100 times. I mean, check this out. This is colored on glossy cardstock. I mean, so it looks like watercolor on glossy paper, right? I'm assuming
Right.
that glossy cardstock?
Glossy cardstock.
All right.
Yep.
So I know that you use the fillable pen, so let me just demonstrate real quick how to fill the fillable pen, and then we'll let you just show us your talent right there. So
Dive right in.
the fillable pen, this is basically just an empty pen that Ranger sells that is designed to be filled with alcohol ink. It's a dual tip pen. It's got a brush nib on one end and it has a fine point nib on the other. And the whole idea is to fill it with alcohol ink so you have a pen that you could actually color with alcohol ink, whether you wanted to use red pepper or any of that. But today I know you have a little trick. So we're going to work with blending solution in the pen. So how we're going to fill this pen with blending solution, I'm going to start with the brush tip. And the brush tip, it's a flexible brush tip, but it's got a little metal base to it. And so I'm going to grab just under that metal base, and I'm going to pull this nib straight out. But you definitely want to grab it by the metal so you don't rip off the nib. Pull that right out. I'm going to take my blending solution. I'm going to put that right in, and we're just going to squeeze it for a few seconds because there is a material inside this pen that the liquid has to absorb into. So if you keep squeezing it, it's just going to come out the other end. So you have to do that probably 2 or 3 seconds worth of ink, whether you're using blending solution or anything like that. Let it soak in, add a few more seconds. I probably do that maybe 5 or 10 times, and I add it. And you can add that to both ends, or if you just work on one end, it will eventually soak all the way through. And once you're done, you would replace the nib right in there, push it right back in, cap it back up, and set it aside for 5 minutes. And that's going to allow the ink really to soak through the barrel of the pen, wick out on both ends, and now you've got a usable pen. The thing to remember, though, on the fillable pen is once you fill it with something, whether you filled it with blending solution or whether you filled it with a color of ink, it is that color for its life. You can't ever rinse it out and change colors down the road. So this one is going to be our dedicated blending solution pen. Again, if it was a color, this white band, you could go in and color with the alcohol ink color that you filled it with, so you have that for a point of reference. But this one we're going to leave white because it's blending solution, so I'll set that aside. I'll bring in the pen that we have set aside for 5 minutes and let you show us exactly how you did this really cool look. All right, take it away. Let's see.
Okay, the first thing I did was stamp with the Adirondack Earth Tones Pitch Black, but the dye, and you really wouldn't think that it would be waterproof, but it is. Once you dry it, you really have to dry it. It has to be really, really dry.
So you stamp with dye onto glossy cardstock?
Yes, glossy cardstock.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. I would think we would stamp with a different type of ink that we have. So, okay, Adirondack Pitch Black dye.
Dye, yes.
All right, and you've dried it really, really well.
Dried it really, really well.
Okay.
But to set up our palette here, we put our alcohol ink in and just let it dry, and we can use it. It's reusable. You can go away from it, come back to it, because what you're going to wet it with...
Alcohol ink, dry.
Dry.
Dry. It's dry. Wow.
So
cool.
you can take it with you, throw it in your bag. It's
So you
completely
just made
dry.
a palette,
Yep.
you just dripped it in, let it dry.
Let it dry.
Cool. So is there like a set amount, 5 drops, 10 drops, whatever you want?
Whatever you want, really.
Okay.
As
Cool.
long as let it dry.
All right, well then we don't need these little beauties.
Not
I guess we just
anymore.
need our palette.
Yep. So first thing you do is really just dip it in, and what you're doing is just re-wetting it. You can use this little center to mix colors, blend colors, see
squeak.
what color
Cool.
you want. But I like to just dip it in and get the dark parts. And what I'm going to do is just go around the edges first and define my space, because I like the edges a little bit darker.
Wow, but so that pen just had blending solution in it. I mean, I know I filled that one, but look at how much color you're getting just from like re-wetting that dried up ink.
Oh, absolutely.
That's crazy.
A long, long way. Goes a little bit, goes a long way.
That is.
And as it gets lighter, I just fill in the center.
Oh, instant shading.
Shading, yes.
See that?
How easy is it
That is the
to
artist
shade?
in you, Debbie. That is. So instant shading off of the same color, because again, that blending solution is it's lightening basically that color as the more you use it.
Absolutely, the more you use it. And what you could do is go in with a different color, but some people like to really just dab it onto a piece of paper,
Okay.
a napkin or whatever. And
Yeah, because I
then-
noticed that the nib of the pen, if you want to just show it on the camera, the nib of the pen, it does get stained, but you can still use it in other colors, right?
Absolutely. So I come in here, and she's going to be a blonde,
All right.
and we're just going to go around. And what I'm going to do is give it a little darker shade here and
Okay.
there, just to emphasize.
That's so cool. Dry alcohol ink, you guys. Dry alcohol ink. Just drip your inks in a palette and a blending solution and a fillable pen. So when you thought you needed to have 42 fillable pens, you really just need one that you fill with blending solution.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of the trick.
And you go back with different colors, shading different colors.
And because alcohol inks work on non-porous surfaces, I mean, you're doing this on glossy paper, but you could do this on glass or metal or ceramic tiles or even shrink plastic if you wanted to colorize
Absolutely.
shrink plastic.
Yes.
That'd be really cool. So I can imagine that over time the nib is going to kind of get a little too stained or maybe too worn. So I do want to mention that Ranger does have replacement nibs for the fillable pen. So if you get to a point where you're using your blender pen, so to speak, and you're using that nib until it's not working properly anymore, you can get some replacement ones. Look at that.
Absolutely. Just so much fun.
I'm telling you. You wowed me with the whole pigment ink, and now you're wowing me with alcohol inks.
Fast and fun, and 2 seconds, and you've got
Yeah,
color.
I mean, you guys, really, check that out. It's that whole blended look on glossy cardstock using a fillable pen with blending solution and alcohol ink that you've dripped into a palette that's all dried up. Debbie, amazing once again. Amazing once again. Thank you.
You're welcome.